All right, this video is more for our padded flag coaches and how to structure practices. Again, we've done this for 3 years. We've learned a lot. We've had one of our coaches, Adam Becklem, who coached 12 years of varsity football Orange, has helped put this together. We've refined it every year, and it worked great. Our practice plan for rookie tackle this past year was phenomenal, and we want to make sure that really it's in line with our padded flag, that we're practicing the same way. We're one football family, so when these kids, we're going to take these best practices and filter them down to you guys. We want to practice the right things. And really practice as a program, right? This isn't rec league. We're a program. There's things that we do the same at each level, and we want to practice way in padded flag so it integrates when they graduate to rookie tackle and they're kind of used to it. We want to spend the time working on the things that really matter, developing skills, not just running plays. Practice should be fun and engaging. You should want your kids after practice, that when they're driving home, they can't wait to come to the next practice, right? The practice should be a 10 out of 10 with the fun factor. Be engaging as a coach, be creative, get fired up, bring a positive energy, and make sure every kid feels special. Have a moment with every kid where they feel really great, use their names, have some fun, have some downtime, ask them, what's going on in their life, how school's going. That's the stuff that really matters. That's the magic of practice if you do it the right way. And find some time when things get a little stale, just maybe scrap this and do something fun. We've had times where we've, pushed cars around the parking lot, or did a game, maybe play, sharks and minnows or something, that just to mix it up. So there's some ideas there. One thing is you do want to practice on time and end on time, as closely as we possibly can. Let's see awards before I forget. Okay, so here's some of our best practices, and I also have a buddy who's coached padded flag at Avon for a good number of years, and he's shared what they do, and they're really good. And he said they spend most of their time pulling flags and blocking. He's like 70% of the time where we're doing flag pulling drills, blocking drills, getting kids used to contact, and a very little bit of time practicing plays. So I agree with that. So first step is pre-practice, all right? Before kids get there, usually they start jacking around, they're throwing the ball around, it's kind of unorganized. Last year at rookie tackle, we had one of our coaches, Adam Becklem. He had an organized pre-practice plan. So he had some kind of drills that were ready, kind of more fun stuff where you're doing like key skills that we don't always get. Maybe the quarterbacks are getting the snaps and they're running, they're doing a pass play. And we use bags and have kids reading, defenders, and just kind of come up with just creative gameplay. Maybe Coach Becklem will do some talks on that. But worst case scenario, just get kids and have all the kids come together and run different teams. But here's a chance to, well, that's another thing. We like to practice together. It's not a rec program. We want to have all 3 teams practice together and build a brotherhood. And you're going to have some friends that aren't on your team. And part of the time we practice together, you get to be with those other kids and friends. And we want all the coaches coaching all the kids in the program. You're not just coaching the kids in your team. We're building these kids up. And just almost like a varsity team kind of practices together. So we just found that to be the right thing to do. And we're a small school, so we can leverage being small. There's strengths we can do. Avon, they have like 10 padded flag teams. They can't do that. They got to practice separately as their own teams. And I just feel like we can do that with their size, and it's worked really, really well. So have some kind of pre-practice. Worst case scenario, have center stamp to the quarterbacks and throw go routes, pat and go. But there's things you can do in there. Do something fun. Then we have a warm-up. Warm-up is going to be about 15 minutes long. I'll get into the details later. But we do want all the coaches coaching, right? Coach warm-up, like get the culture going. Technique matters, whether they're doing high knees or butt kickers or up downs. Like if a kid's not doing it right, there's an opportunity to coach them and set the standard of excellence. All right. And the 15 minutes, that's about 13 minutes with 2 minutes of water. They should need a water break. We don't have time to do conditioning. We do some strength and conditioning in our warm-up. Next thing we want to do is spend 15 minutes pulling flags every day. I'll get over to some other drills we can do, but again, 13 minutes, 2 minutes of water. They have short attention span, so I'd like to have a break and get them going. And then we want to spend 15 minutes of blocking. And we can integrate some flag pulling, blocking drills together for some of that. We want strong fundamentals. All right, part of our program for padded flags, preparing them for rookie tackle. So we want to do things in a way when they get there, those contact skills, they have a base. And our 5th graders last year did great. They had a strong base with padded flag experience. They slid right into the blocking and tackling with contact, no problem. They were confident. All right. Then we want to do some team time. All right. So then we spend about 25 minutes. You separate as a team. And these are all the teams together. These are like stations and drills. All 30 kids in the program are doing this together. And then we separate as a team, and you do whatever you want, defense, offense, put your practice plays in, maybe do some pursuit drills with your defense or formation recognition, or you can, if you have 2 or 3 coaches, maybe one coach takes the corners and the safeties, one coach does the linebackers. So you can do some individual time here for those other skills. And then we scrimmage for 20 minutes. And when we scrimmage, what we do is we usually have 3 teams. We have 1 team on defense for about 7 minutes. All right, maybe 6.5 minutes. All right, 1 team on defense, they have yellow caps. All right, we wear yellow caps to designate who's offense and defense. It's easier than putting the whole, scrimmage vests on. And then the other 2 teams, they rotate plays. So 1 team will be in offense in the huddle. Right, they break the huddle. They run a play. While they're running the play and huddling, the other team on offense, they're huddled too. So they should be ready to run their play, that second team, as soon as the defense comes back. So we can get a lot of reps in 7 minutes. All right? So every team will get 2 in those 6.5 minute blocks. Every team will get on defense once and offense twice. Again, rotating plays through. And sometimes you can mix it up. Do situations. Maybe you do the situation today is 4th and short, or it's goal line, or it's or you can just move the ball down the field like it's a real game and have a coach spot the ball. Biggest thing with scrimmaging, you have to have one coach designated as the whistle and the ref. All right, so if kids are if they're holding, if they're offsides, if they're penetrating the A gap, if they're blitzing and they're not supposed to, that's a chance to clean that stuff up. So when they're in games, they're not making those mistakes and getting penalties. Okay, so teach that up. All right, then we close. Then what we want to do after a scrimmage, we have all 3 teams come together, they take a knee, and we have a head coach that just kind of breaks it down. We like to do spotlights. So every coach, hey, you spotlight a kid. Hey, my spotlight is Johnny because he did this and he really paid attention to this drill, or he helped a teammate off the floor, he said a positive word of encouragement. So we're going to get, we want to reward the behaviors that we want to see. All right, and that's how we build culture, is doing spotlights. Sometimes I'll get Kit Kats and the kid gets a Kit Kat, or sometimes we'll have the team, the players do the spotlight, and they start to love that. Hey, you get a team member that spotlights a kid. That builds culture, it makes kids feel special. And then once the season starts, that first practice on Tuesday, we can do awards. All right, so we have helmet stickers, we have a big defensive play, whether it's an interception or it's a big flagpole. You can acknowledge that kid in front of all 3 kids in the program, pass out helmet stickers. There's ones for big block. You got a bulldozer, so you usually have 1 or 2 big block for your team. Again, we want to sell blocking, being unselfish. And then if your team wins the game or you get a touchdown, we have like blue stars that we pass out. So we want to be handing out stickers. We also have T-shirts. So if you get when we get an interception, we say pass ball wetsuit. Wetsuit is like our, we eat this stuff up. It's our interception call. So we have wetsuit T-shirts. So if a kid gets an interception, we pass out his wetsuit T-shirt. It's also nice at the end of that, all the kids that got an award, you have a snap a picture. Again, we want our kids to feel special. That can take a little bit longer sometimes. On those Tuesdays, it might be closer to 5 minutes. Other days, it should be 1 or 2 minutes. Maybe you have a quote you want to share with the team or some kind of life lesson. That's our chance to do that. All right, so let's get into some of the drills for flag pulling and blocking. And we want this to be integrated with USA Football and all this stuff. A lot of this is in the USA Football certification. And with how we teach tackling, we want our flag pulling to fit right in and have the same concepts. So one thing we'll do is we'll do drills with everybody together. We'll do drills and we'll break off into stations and kind of rotate kids through stations to take those fundamentals and then practice them in groups. Early on, you'll spend more time doing drills and less time doing stations. You get middle part of the year, that percentage is going to be less time on fundamentals, and then you have more time on stations to make more real life plays. So what we'll do for flag pulling is we'll have groups. All right, so we'll have a player with his flags on that just stands there. Then we'll have, hopefully only 3 or 4 kids deep in a line, so we get through these really quickly. Right, so maybe we have 3 kids, 4 in a line. 1 kid is the dummy. We want hopefully coaches at every station. So it should be about 7 of these groups. And then what we do is we work on one part of flag pulling at a time. So the first thing we'll do is work on finishing, right? So we have the kid, we always tackle or flag pull on one hip. So we'll say, okay, left hip flag pull. All right, so that player will be on the left hip, or he'll be in the finish position, which is cheek to cheek, he's staggered. Or if we're gonna pull so if we're on the right hand, this side of it, our closest foot is always up. So this would be a right foot staggered. All right, so it'll be right foot staggered. I'm pulling his left hip, okay? Again, should we call the right shoulder tackle, all right, when we're tackling. But it'll be a right hand flag pull. We're gonna pull with the same side hand and pull, all right? Keep one hand free in case you miss and you cut so you can get the other hand. So teach one hand, pull it up high, pull it down, you punch it up when you're done. But we're gonna be in this finish cheek to cheek position. Good posture, shoulders back. All right, we're squeezing our shoulders. And then one coach will say, go. All kids pull the flag at the same time. He hands it back, and then they switch. He gets in line, and we circle through. And then they'll do the other side. We'll just do the finish drill. Next up is a buzz. So we're going to be staggered, and they could rotate, left and right each side. So the next one would be a little bit farther away, about 2 or 3 yards away on that hip. And then we're going to do a buzz technique. It'll be all right, I'm going to pull with my right hand. That means my right foot is staggered, and he's going to buzz in an athletic position to get to the finish position. All right, so buzz, he's going to buzz, buzz, buzz. We're not shuffling our feet. We're leading and sliding, and we're athletic, and our hands are ready. We want to be big, especially flag pulling. I tell kids, get big. You want to corral the kid. So we're buzzing in, and then we close and finish and go cheek to cheek and flag pull. All right, and we're going to do that on the other side. Hey, left foot stagger. Left hand flag pull. Same thing on the other side. Buzz, 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 finish. And then we'll add the last part, which is sprint. So we have a cone here, a cone here. All right, and then we're gonna sprint with high hips. We gotta close ground. Once we get close, we get a couple yards away, then we buzz and then we finish. And tackle would be sprint, buzz, tackle. So the same drills we use for tackling, we can use here and get those kind of tracking techniques. We're tracking that hip. All right, we do that and tackle football every day, over and over and over again, and build strong fundamentals. Then we can break up into stations. Here's just some of my favorite groups for stations. One is a mirror drill. So you'd have, maybe a 5-yard line. There's a kid on offense. He can only move laterally. All right, you have a kid on one hip. He buzzes and he breaks down and he just goes sideways and he mirrors, staying on that hip. All right, we call it leverage. So he's leveraging this hip. What he doesn't want to do is have this kid come here and he goes on the opposite hip, because eventually we'll have another kid on the other side. So he just mirrors him the whole way. And then when the coach blows the whistle, then what we do is they have a line here. When the coach blows the whistle, this kid on offense tries to score, and this kid just hopefully is in proper position when the whistle's called, and he pulls his flag. All right. And he's always moving his feet, and he's staying big on that hip. Box drill. Now we want to go in more open space. Okay, so what we do is we have kid on offense, kid on defense. They run around, they get in the middle, and it's just kind of a one-on-one. Now it's maybe 4 to 5 yards. He's got to leverage a hip, put it all together, buzz his feet, get big, right? This kid's just trying to score. There's more fun things you can do. You can make the box a little bigger, things like that. Another thing you can do is just have the kid maybe here do a handoff. Coach, you give him a handoff. You can practice handoff skills. And you can have this kid on a cone on defense, one of the cone or the other, and have him do a read step. So linebacker, he can do his linebacker read step. If he's a cornerback, he can do his back pedal read steps and then go. So it's another way to do the box drill. Or you can have a coach over here and throw him a little screen pass, and then when he catches the ball, he can go up. So there's some options there. And the other one is a leverage drill. You have a ball carrier. You got defenders on each side, and they close on each hip. They're sprinting and then buzzing. And then on the whistle, he can move anywhere in here. All right, so if he goes this way, he's got to shuffle out outside hip, and then he closes on this hip, right? If he stays in the middle, they both converge. All right, what we want to do is make sure, hey, this guy has this half of the man, he has that half of the man. What we can't have, right, if he jukes him and then he goes on the wrong half. All right, so you're kind of teaching to stay on that half of a man. Huge thing in open field flag pulling and tackling. All right, blocking. We'll have kind of a similar setup when you do blocking fundamentals. We'll have those yellow half dummy pads. All right, coaches. Hopefully have 7 coaches. If not, as many coaches as we can. The coaches are holding the pad. I have 1 player right in front of the pad, and we'll have a line of the other kids in line. All right, 1 coach is leading the group. All right, the first thing we do is work on striking. So we have the kids first on their knees. We have them coil, right? It gets all the USA football videos, coil, and then uncoil, right? So say set or uncoil, strike, right? And the big thing is their thumbs are up, elbows together. They're going low to high. Boom. All right, then do the same drill on their feet in a good stance, right? They squeeze the shoulders, right? We sink down, low to high. We don't move our feet yet. We're just working on that strike. The next part we'll work on is our feet. So we'll do our strike part, and then we will take 4, we're gonna drive the bag back. We take 4-inch vertical steps. We don't wanna lunge, we wanna be in good position. We wanna go from low to high as we block with our feet, and then we call it loaded diaper technique. This totally works for our kids. We want kids to have a good alignment when they block. We don't wanna be here. We're not lunging out. This isn't a power position. All right, so we're here, we're in a good stance, we squeeze our shoulders, right? And we take these, like a toddler has like a loaded diaper. They kind of walk like this, right? So we're kind of mimicking that posture. Kids will get that. So we're taking these loaded diaper steps, and our goal is to do it for 4 seconds. When we block, we tell kids an A is 4, you can sustain the block for 4 seconds, that's an A. You sustain it for 3 seconds, that's a B, 2 seconds is a C. If you only sustain it for 1 second, that's a D. If you don't block the kid at all for 0 seconds, that's an F. So we want to have them, the expectation, our goal is to block this kid for 4 seconds. Our goal is to move him backwards, okay? Our ideal goal, when we drive block or zone block somebody, we want to move him 1 step past his volitional will. That kid's going to want to come forward. We got to match force with force. We have technique, and we have to have attitude, and we got to drive. If we get him back 1 step, we win, okay? The next step is then we add the stance in your first steps. So every kid's in a perfect stance, where their elbows are on their hands, they're low. We don't want to have lazy, postures and stances. All right, then we have a zone step. So we'll say, hey, we're running zone or jet right. So we step with our right foot first. So we call it zone step or first step. Right, it's not too big, it's just a little bit of a punch step. When they take their first step, they coil, all right? We freeze and we make sure everybody's doing it right before we move on. So it's like a bird dog drill, do 1 step at a time. When everybody's good, then we'll say fire step. Our fire step is our second step. So if it's zone right here, our second step is left, and we're stepping towards the midline of the person. All right, we're gonna step right into them, and that fire step, we're striking and making contact. So now we're re-emphasizing that drill. All right, and then we finish. All right, so then we strike and we do that, push the coach back for 4 seconds. The last drill is for perimeter blocking and centers. All right, now we'll start 4 yards off. And we'll be in a stance, we'll climb, and then we'll get there. Right, we kind of not really buzz our feet, but we break down our feet and we go through the strike. Coil, uncoil, thumbs up, elbows in, low to high, and then we drive him back for 4 seconds. And probably on this one, our coaches, if we space out, we can start having the coach move laterally so he mirrors him. That's going to be more lifelike for perimeter blocking or the center climbing to block. Another thing you do, if you have a kid that's a center, give him a football and have him snap to the kid behind him so he can get used to that when we do the climb drill. All right, stations for this, really we have one big drill that I found is the best. I call it the 4 seconds challenge drill. We'll have an offensive guy, a defensive guy. All right, and we have a coach holding a yellow bag about 4 yards back, okay? On set hit, all right, he's gonna bull rush. He has 4 seconds to tag the bag. All right, this is just add more attitude, right? And technique and sustaining a block, whatever it takes. All right, so he's got to sustain that block for 4 seconds. After 4 seconds, coach blows whistle, drill's done. If he tags in, he wins. If he holds the block off for 4 seconds, he wins. We have kids, hey, just mirror him. If he goes this way, he goes out, like keep riding him out. Biggest thing is keep your feet moving. Loaded diaper technique. Stay in that loaded diaper technique, stay compact, and you just got to mirror him. And that's just attitude, because we'll get some kids that just bull rush us, right? So we're getting kind of used to that contact if you have aggressive defensive tackle. We can also mix and match and do some, we could make this a ball carrier, right? Set some cones up, defender, and we can do all kind of stuff we've done before. So we can introduce blocking and flag pulling drills together. So probably the last 5 minutes or so, you could add some of that fun stuff and get those kids doing it together. I think that's it. Those are the basics. You can come up with more drills, but those are kind of fundamentals to get you through most of the season. Flag pulling, again, there's tons of drills online you can find to keep making fresh drills. Every 2 or 3 weeks, I like to introduce a new, just kind of fun flag pulling drill all out there. So, hope that helps.